All right, so far in our quest to create our educational leadership portfolio, we have created a folder to share artifacts of our development and anything else that we want to embed within our educational leadership portfolio site. We then created the site using a template. Now let's take a look at what we created. What is contained within that portfolio site? So we're going to go to our Google Drive. Again, I like to type Drive, or you can again use this little thing, little grid deal there. Log in with our @go and only our @go.olemiss.edu Google account. Now, for me, I've got this priority set up, so it'll pop up usually. So there's my file, but I can also go to Drive, and I named it my name. It's a file, Joel Amadon Educational Leadership Portfolio. So again, I got lots of files. You probably have less files than I do. There we go. I'm going to open it up. So there's a couple things we can do to take a tour of our site. One is the Google site version of our tour, which is go to here. If you've never done Google Sites before, take a tour. It'll show you all the various things about Google Sites. It's a what you see is what you get. That's a technical term for website development, where you drag things around, and what you see is what you get when you publish it. So, which is kind of nice. It's a very user-friendly form of website creation. And so that's why we wanted to create it. Also, too, you might have access to Google Sites at your school site. We have access to it here at the university, but you might have access to it at your local districts or wherever you might be. So having ability to edit Google Sites, we think, is a very transferable skill. So that's why we thought this would be the platform to use, and it's not something you have to pay an extra fee for, whatever. All right, so there's our Google Sites version of a tour. But also what we want to do is have you see some of the things that we've created in this template, okay? So we go to Pages. You can view all the pages that are embedded in your site. Remember, the purpose of this template was we would make the decisions, or kind of make some design decisions for you initially, so that you wouldn't have to think like, oh, how do I want things laid out? How do I want to show my professional vision? How do I want to show artifacts? We've kind of created all that for you, so that you can spend more time thinking about content that you actually put into the template. So let's show you. The home page is basically, the purpose of this page is to introduce yourself to anyone that's going to visit your site. Some preloaded ideas for introducing yourself are selecting a picture that represents who you are as an educational leader. We have this, notebook, pencil, kind of just a placeholder picture, but we want you to put a good picture of yourself. You got a professional picture that'd look great there. There's a little caption underneath that you can use to describe yourself, writing a little welcome statement and linking possibly to your resume. Just some ideas. Again, this is your site. No one can really tell you what to put on it, but this is, again, some general ideas about that. There's also a footer for you to include any relevant contact information you would want to share. Anything you edit down here in the footer gets seen throughout the site. So if you want to put your name and, again, any contact information you'd like to share, we don't say, in here there is a email and a phone number. You don't have to put an email and a phone number. It's just, again, just a thought for how you might want people to be able to contact you if they're viewing your portfolio. All right, so the next page we want to look at, and I can navigate through here or on this side. Let's go this side. So let's look at our professional vision. This is an evolution of your beliefs about where you fit in the world of education. So the purpose of this page is to document how you define and refine your beliefs about educational leadership. Make sure that when you revisit your professional vision throughout the program, that you do not delete anything you previously posted. You may change your mind about something, or your ideas may be more sophisticated late in your program, but you still want to leave the old professional vision statements posted in order to show how you've evolved and grown as an educator. So, for example, in a little bit, in a few more steps, I'm going to have you put in a 1 to 2 sentence professional vision statement. It could be very naive, like I want to lead a school that is loving and caring to all students, something like that. And why did you put that? So you want to express love, you want to make sure every student feels welcome, so having some sort of thing. But now, that is going to be something that you want to keep. And then the more advanced or more refined professional vision statements you put above it, but keep those other ones below. So again, so you can see your evolving beliefs about yourself as an educational leader. Okay. Another page we can look at is the journal. This is going to be where we're going to insert a field experience journal. And this is, again, going to, the purpose of this page is to document your experiences as an educational leader. So there's a number of the courses you're going to take are going to require you to spend a certain number of hours in a field placement. So in order to keep track of what you're seeing, hearing, experiencing, we want you to keep detailed notes in your journal. And you're also might get some prompts from some instructors and whatnot as well for things you should put in your journal as well. So it is a good idea to spend a few minutes after each day in the field to jot down what happened that day. And again, same thing, you're going to see what you notice get more and more sophisticated as you go. So it's, again, a great exercise to have a field experience journal in general, but then also you're going to be required to do it for some of your courses. So this journal will be valuable as an artifact to document your growth as an educational leader. So for example, if you notice something and it's like, whoa, this was mind-blowing and I really figured out what it means to be an educational leader from this experience, and you have nowhere to put it in your journal. And then you've got it as a mile marker of your development that you can reflect on later as an artifact within your portfolio. Okay. And then that brings us to the next page, is these artifacts pages. All right. So first, there is a kind of a table of contents to all your artifacts. Again, artifacts are your mile markers of your professional growth. So if you think about if you were a teacher beforehand, like what would be those, like, those standout moments where you learned a little bit more about what it means to be a teacher. Same thing here as an educational leader, through your program, you should have these mile markers of professional growth. Like, this is what it means to be an educational leader. This was an aha moment. So those aha moments are what we want to capture as artifacts. And so this is like the table of contents of all the artifacts. And then an artifact page looks like this, where again, you point to something that is meaningful to you in your development. So maybe it was an assignment that you did for one of your classes. Maybe it was a reading that you did. Maybe it was something you created for your field experience. So you describe the context around it. And then, so the context is described in a way that anyone who is not familiar with your program might understand where it's from. So not using a lot of jargon like, class numbers and stuff like that. But in my course on instructional leadership, blah, blah, blah. So again, describing the context. Where did this artifact come from? What actually is the artifact? So either embed it and put a link to it. That's why we have that shared folder that we created. That's why that's there, in order so we can put that artifact within that folder, and then we could link to it here, or we can embed it from there. And then, why is that artifact important to you? That's the reflection piece. And then you're going to connect that artifact with, and the growth associated with it, with the standards from your field. And so that's the next page that we're going to take a look at. And again, we'll talk more about authoring artifacts in later videos. But then the final thing is these standards. And so there are 3 sets of standards that you're going to have: the Council for Accreditation of Educator Preparation standards for accreditation at the advanced level, National Educational Leadership Preparations program standards at the building level, and program professional standards for educational leaders. So those standards pages, each of them is a page. So you can go to one of them. So go to the CAPE standards, and you can see like each of these standards, and these are things that you need to show growth in. And so the artifact becomes the mile marker of your growth. And then these standards say, like, well, here's what the field says is like how the field would categorize that growth. Okay. And so if you grow as an educational leader, I can say with pretty good confidence that there's going to be some standard that's connected to that growth. And so those are some of the pages that you're going to have. So you just toured your educational leadership portfolio. Good job.